But the real reason why I wanted to stream today is the Knicks got knocked out of the playoffs, right? So the Knicks got knocked out of the playoffs, and then he gets fired. So actually, let's run through the events, right? I'm gonna play the music again because who doesn't enjoy some Souls of Mischief? So let's run through the list. The Knicks beat the Pistons. Tight series, right? I think that one went to 6 or 7, right? Yeah, it went to 6 games. It was Knicks in 6. We play Boston, and also I think another 6 games, but we get blown out. Like we start losing the first 2 games on the road in the postseason against the Celtics. Down 20, we come back twice. So we're down 20 2 times in 2 straight games. And then we come back to win. Right? Take 2 away. The following series, we lose the first 2 games at home against Indiana. So we won the first 2 games. I will not put that in frame. I'm sorry, y'all. These are batteries. I gotta change the controller. But we win the first 2 games in Boston, and then we lose the first 2 games at home against the Pacers. Swish. There, that was insane, right? And then we go on to lose the rest of the season series in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in 6. So we won our first 2 in 6. We lost our last 2 in 6. That was on Saturday, May 31st. Following the game, somebody asked Jalen Brunson, how does he feel about Tom Thibadeu? And basically, Jalen goes, why are you even asking me this question? Right? Like, why are you even asking me this question right now? Let's pull it up. Because we're gonna let the man speak for himself. He gets asked this question. Hopefully, no ads. Of course, it's a damn ad. All right. But he gets asked this question, and he's incredulous of it.
Of what Kat just said, you make the moves to win. There are obviously a lot of big moves this offseason. How confident are you that this group has enough to take that next step? And
the most confidence, overconfident. Seriously,
I believe him too.
I
By the
don't.
way, I don't think he's
There's
lying.
not an ounce of any type of doubt that I'm not confident with this group.
Jalen, when you talk about the confidence, obviously, I feel like nobody takes more criticism than Tom, and this team obviously has turned around during his tenure. Do you kind of feel that going forward he's the same guy to lift you guys the rest of the way, that next level?
Is that a real question right now?
Every time I turn on ESPN.
You just asked me if I believe that if he's the right guy. Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Come on.
All right, I'm not gonna lie to you. That's a dumb question to ask, and there's because there's no right answer for that question for Jalen Brunson. Genuinely, there is no right answer for Jalen Brunson. So that's a really dumb question because he's not going to be like, no, I don't think this guy's the right coach. Because if he comes back, you just cause an unnecessary locker room issue, right? So he has you know what I mean? And then 2, he just lost the final. What you mean asking this guy if you think the coach is the right guy to join the team? Stop drinking. Sorry, I got a message. 14th. Anyway, so this is Saturday afternoon. Dumb question is asked. I'm at work today. I'm chilling. I'm trying to do my job. I'm doing whatever. And I get a note. I check my Instagram, and I'm like, oh, snap. they fired Tom Thibodeau. I was shocked. I didn't think they were gonna do it. I personally don't think they were gonna fire him, but they did, right? And like credit to Tibbs, he got us the furthest we've gotten in 25 years. I'm 30, y'all. The Knicks have not been to the Eastern Conference Finals since I was 5 years old. I barely remember being 5. So like this is our most winningest coach. Back to back 50 plus game wins. Um, First time in 30 years, I think we've had that. It's so like one would think, why would you fire the coach? Why would you fire Tom's? And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I am incredibly grateful for what Thibodeau has done. I think the city of New York owes this man a debt of gratitude. Once the hurt of losing in the playoffs, once the hurt of getting fired subsides, I hope, I pray that the Knicks fans, the Knicks organization, and Mr. Tom Thibodeau can come together in kumbaya. However, I think it was time. I think it was time. And the reason why I say that is because not because like we made it to yes, we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We should have been Indiana Pacers. I to this day I think the Indiana Pacers should have been beaten. I'm gonna talk about something. Oh, that just triggered me. I got triggered. I can't even show y'all on screen what I'm thinking about because I got triggered. You know what? Tribe Called Quest, good song to choose because y'all gonna calm me down, right? So I think it's not just that we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's how we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's how we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And like the scoring lines on some of these aren't too crazy. Take a look at them, right? We lose in overtime. They got a really lucky bucket, really lucky three that kind of brought them back into the game. Um, we lose game 2. We lost the first 2 games at home, right? So after we win the first 2 games away at Boston, we lost the next 2 games, the next 2 home games, and the next series at home, right? We still won in Indiana. I think this one we were down pretty early. We went in again at home, and then we lose away in Indiana, right? I'm watching these games. I'm not watching every single game because I just can't. My anxiety couldn't do it. Like these guys play it too close to the vests, right? And like this is true. I think I was watching Gilbert Arenas' podcast or somebody else. They mentioned that the Knicks plus minus on points, right? Which means um the amount of points they scored and the amount of points their opponents scored. Sorry, somebody's asking me a question. It's the same thing every year, dude. It's the same time every year. Every year we do the same thing. Every year we do the same thing. Sorry. So what was I talking about? Somebody remind me. Front free, just like money. Me. What were we talking about? We're talking about the Knicks. However you want it. Word. I'm talking about how we lost. Yes. So I'm checking on the games because I can't watch them all in full. And I'm watching the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson is tired. He is dog tired, right? He's out here trying to bring the ball down the court. Dude is exhausted. And I'm watching Cat. He's Cat. So all the problems that people say he has, all the things they say he's not good at, we already knew this. These are not new. This is the same old with Cat. He had the same problems in Minnesota. Right. And I'm watching how we're playing. I'm watching these guys get on fast breaks. And I'm like, why aren't we changing our at the very least? Why is Jalen Brunson bringing the ball up every time? You're letting them exhaust him. You're allowing Indiana to make your star player tired before he can even get to work. Give the ball to Hart, Anunoby, McHale, McBride, somebody to get the ball up the court, call a couple screens, call a couple plays, get Jalen to where you're going to get him to later, right? Why? Because Jalen now is taking so much time to get up the court. He's expending so much energy because you're allowing him to pick him up 94 feet every time. Every single time. So, of course, he's not going to be efficient or be that good, right? And because he has the ball in his hand the entire time, okay. And because he has the ball the entire time, can't nobody else get their touches off. All right, cool, whatever. Well, you're gonna let him bring the ball up. You're gonna tire him out in that way. Well, that means you have to put him on the bench every so often to get some rest, right? Tips? Yes. Just gonna rotate, get somebody else in, let them play a little bit, allow them to, give Jalen Brunson some time to breathe and get himself together. Now, it's Thibodeau we're talking about here. Of course not. Played the same 7-8. I think the only game, I think it was this one. Right? No, that's the Indiana Pacers. I want to see the box score. Can we see the box score? I think this might have been the only game that we saw like Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright got 14 and 10 minutes each. I think that was the only get out of here, dude. Go away. I want to see you. I think that was the only time. Precious Achua, by the way, Precious Achua, who came in clutch last year for us, is not getting any minutes in the postseason. What is happening?
Forcing a game.
Pause. That scared me. Nobody's getting any minutes. Nobody's getting no playing time. Like, so of course, Jalen Brunson, everybody's going to be super tired because and it's not because of one game too, by the way, right? He still went 12 for 18, 4 for 7 from 3, 4 for 4 from free throw. Those are very good numbers. Excuse me. You also got 5 rebounds. Good for you, Jalen. But even still, right? Even still, because you're doing this every single game over the course of not just the series, but the season, you're tiring him out. So by the time it comes time for crunch time, he tired. Right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4 players didn't play. And by the way, Tyler Kolek and Campaign are fine players. They're not like the greatest ever, but they're decent enough where you can give them a few minutes. They've only had one player. There was only one player that had a DNP, right? And again, he got only a minute. That was garbage time anyway, right? I'm like, dog, what are we doing? The guy doesn't use his bench ever. It's become a theme. Like it was always a theme. It was always a theme, right? Always, always, always a theme. But you would think that by this, this is insane. Game 2, they use 1, 2, 3, 4.
The history of winning started with the 65 Gators losing.
All right, turn off. Right, so they played. How many plays they played? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They played 11 players. We played 8. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen over the course? And this is after playing overtime in game 1. Game 1, we played overtime. So he's hiring these guys out. And at this point, it's not just the losses themselves. It's not just losing. It's the method in which you did it. That pissed me off so much. We're going to talk about that too. In this game, he played basically 8. DeLon Wright got on the court at some point, but it's counted as like 0 minutes or whatever. The rest of them guys, basically the same 8 people. Precious didn't get in. Again, Precious held us down last year. Precious was one of the reasons we even made it that far. And then he just get like, I'm like, if I'm pressing, like, screw Tom Thibodeau. At this point, I'm not even gonna hold you. Damn, we only shot 32% that game. That's crazy. Anyway, so point being is that I am not surprised that they let him go. I think it was time specifically because as much as I respect him, he still can't show that he has not learned how to use a team beyond I'm gonna play the same 7 to 8 guys and that's it. Like he's been coaching for so long He's coached here for 5 years. He got us to Eastern Conference Finals. But you run the team back, we can't make any real big moves, right? Without breaking everything apart. So you're gonna have to bring him back. You're gonna end up with the same exact thing the next year. And if it wasn't good enough this year, what makes you think he's gonna change his ways and be better next year? Right. And I was talking to my dad, I was talking to a colleague at work. How do you make the Knicks better? I'm like, well, honestly, if you bring Tibbs back, tell Tibbs, get you an offensive coach and let the offensive coach go to work. Right. But that's not his style. I was watching Jeff Teague's podcast. He was coached by Tom Thibadeu. He's like, Thibodeau does everything. Thibodeau does, like, basically, if you're the assistant coach on the Thibodeau bench, you don't do anything. You don't have a job because he does it all. So at this point, brother, I'm sorry, man. I can understand why. Now, the follow-up question to that is, who's the next guy? I'm not as tapped in with basketball enough to know all of the coaches like that. Like, somebody mentioned to me that maybe Eric Spoelstra. I'm like, well, we haven't seen Eric Spoelstra coach outside of Miami yet. And that's a risk because that's like, it's never Eric Spoelstra's team. Eric Spoelstra's a good coach. Don't get it twisted. He's a good coach, but that is Pat Riley's organization, and he's only coached in a Pat Riley organization. So I don't know how he would fare by himself. Um, Somebody mentioned Vogel, who was one of the coaches for the Lakers in the past. I don't know too much about him. The one that intrigues me most, I think his name was Mike Malone. He was the coach of the Denver Nuggets when they won the title a year ago or so. Which, you know what? Hearing more and more about him, I think he is probably the best fit. Um, let's look at what CBS has to say about potential coaches, right? So the first one is Mike Malone. Um, right, he's from New York. He won a chip 2 years seasons ago with the Nuggets, and I think that's important because the profile of the Nuggets players and the profile of this current Knicks team is not too dissimilar. So I think it wouldn't be too hard to know how to use the players. The question is, would the players adjust to his tactics better? I don't know. The next one is Mike Budenholzer. You want the opposite of Tom Thibodeau. Well, here's Mike Budenholzer, maybe the only NBA coach who gets criticized for resting his starters too much. When Mike Budenholzer is your head coach, your team does the obvious stuff. It shoots enough threes, it protects the basket, and rebounds on offense. We're talking about a coach who won 60 games with Al Horford and Paul Millsap as his best players. Hey, don't do Al Horford like that. Al Horford was a beast in his heyday, dude. Don't disrespect Al Horford. That no, please. Um, I don't I don't know too much about him. Like, who he's notorious told Justin Henderson let Giannis Antetokounmpo defend Jimmy Butler might have cost him his job with the Bucks. Okay, so Budenholzer was a previous Bucks coach. And he recently also coached in Phoenix. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. If Jeff Van Gundy's still coaching, that's the other one. Is like they say. Some people are saying Jeff Van Gundy. I didn't know Jeff Van Gundy was still coaching. I thought he retired. And I do think it would be crazy. It would be absolute cinema, guys. It would be pure cinema. Move this way, so I'm not Scotchlight. If Jeff Van Gundy was the last coach to do what Tom Thibodeau did in get the Eastern Conference Finals, I think he might have gotten to the finals actually. If he came back almost 30 years later and coached us to the finals and won us a chip, that would be some poetic justice. That, like, every old head Knick fan, every Knick fan from the 90s would, I can't even say what they would do because I'm trying to, we're PG-13 up in here, right? Every OG Knicks fan would go ham if Jeff Van Gundy came back. I just got to see how old he is, though. He might, like, that's the other part about it is, how old is Jeff? Oh, he's only 63? Damn, so he's younger than Tibbs. I didn't know that. All right. And Jeff Van Gundy's a hard-nosed player. He's coached some of the best players ever in the game. But has he evolved with the game? Like, you know what I mean? Like he was on the bench. He was on the bench for the Clippers. He served as defensive coordinator, but he's been out the game for a minute. That's it. Like it's a lot to be on the sideline for a full season. Another one is Jay Wright. Um, he's a college coach, guys. I no disrespect to Jay Wright. He definitely won a chip, but NBA is a different beast. NBA is a different beast. I would say bring him onto the coaching staff, maybe, but to be quite frank, I don't think you should give it to somebody who's never coached in the NBA before. You need somebody with more experience. Who is Dan Hurley? I've never heard of Dan Hurley, so I don't even know nothing about him, to be honest. I'm not a NCAA guy. So he's a college coach right now. Coaching for, I think he's coaching for UConn. He's the UConn head coach. So I don't know who is. Then you got at this point, there's throwing names out there. Johnny Bryant, don't know who that is. Chris Paul. Whoa. All right. Bonus wild candidate. Chris Paul. Excuse me. Paul will hardly be the first player to jump directly from roster to coaching style. Jason Kidd is the most famous example. Redick spent some time as a broadcaster, but he was never as an assistant either. Steve Kerr was a broadcaster and a GM before he took over the Golden State Warriors, but he never coached. Steve Nash worked only part-time with the Golden State Warriors before taking over the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to say absolutely not. Don't go with an unproven guy. If I were to choose a former player turn coach currently, I think just Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd right now will probably be the one that I would want to see coach the Knicks, to be quite frank. I think his basketball IQ and the way he runs the team is good. Um, I think he got them to the. Excuse me. Uh, I think Jason Kidd got the Mavericks to a final. I think so. Did did Jason Kidd did Jason Kidd get the Mavericks to an NBA Finals? So he won it in June 12th, 2021 as a coach. Uh, okay, he went to the Western Conference Finals. Okay, so he made it to the Western Conference Finals as far as he got, which is as far as we got. So he has that experience now. He's also coached one of the biggest names, Luka Doncic. Um, did Jason Kidd coach Jalen Brunson? Was he the coach when they had Jalen? Okay, so he was the head coach. Well, you know what? I don't know if that dynamic means he's out of the running because he was the head coach and then we used Brunson, and then Brunson came to the Knicks and has lit us up. I'm not sure if that plays a role into it, but having a point guard, a former Hall of Fame point guard, as the coach for one of the best point guards in the league right now doesn't sound too bad. I'm gonna be honest; it doesn't sound too bad.